If you're swimming in dashboards but still arguing about what actually drove installs, this is for you. Branch is an AI-powered MMP built for growth marketers who care about signal quality and outcomes, not just reports. You can quickly answer questions like, how is my TikTok spend really performing? Or which partners are driving net new users? And even launch campaigns that move users from offline to app without breaking attribution. Branch's AI proactively surfaces what's working, flags issues early, and takes care of the busy work, like link creation and tagging, so you can move faster and spend smarter. Learn more at branch.io. That's branch.io.
The problem is that the distinction needs to be drawn between the competence of the economists and the correctness of their analysis.
Welcome to the Mobile Dev Memo podcast. I'm your host, Eric Seufert, and I am joined today by Matej Lancaric for the 7th edition of the Mobile Dev Memo Mailbag, which is a Q&A show where I will ask my esteemed guest questions that were submitted from the audience. So first of all, Matej, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. It's nice to be on the other side of the barricade for once.
Yeah, I bet. So you're the interviewee.
Yes.
So before we hopped on, I was trying to remember when we first met. I mean, it was years and years ago. I think it was when I came to Pixel Federation and did the consulting project there, right?
Yeah, I think so, which was 2015, 16. I don't know. It's
it's 15 or 16. It's probably 16. But yeah, I mean, so 10 years ago. Yeah, I came to Bratislava and I had never been there before, but I liked that city. And it was like a mini Prague, I remember.
Very true. I mean, we're not getting any younger. It's 10 years ago. It's time flies.
Time does fly. Yeah. So most people who are listening to this probably know of you from 2.5 Gamers, from your presence on LinkedIn. But for those who don't, can you just please introduce yourself before we dive into the questions?
Absolutely. Thanks. Thanks again. So my name is Matej Lancaric. I've been in the industry for like 12 years. I'm mostly working as a UA consultant. I have my own creative team of 10 motion designers. I also do playables because it's very important. I'm now building my own no-code playable tool, which is called Playable Maker. And I started doing also a little bit of apps and the games here and there. So I'm busy and I love it. And I absolutely love it. But my main business is still UA consultancy. So that's that.
We bumped into each other at Pocket Gamer Connects, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was a nice show. I love PGC. It's kind of the opening of the year anyway, right?
Yeah, so that's maybe the first question. So this one's from me. This was not from the audience, but so I know I just see from Facebook that you go to a lot of conferences. I think you were just coming back from one, right, in Barcelona. Was that right?
Yes, I was in Barcelona. So I mean, there was a time when I was doing way more conferences, but now I try to pick my battles. Pretty much PGC, London, then usually Games Forum in Barcelona. I had a long pause for GDC, but I was there last year. But this year I said, I will maybe just go on a vacation instead. So then I'll be at MAU afterwards. So those are, I think, the first big shows at the beginning of the year. And then I'll just China Joe maybe at the, like in summer. And that's pretty much it.
Well, so that was a question. So which conferences do you prioritize? What about Gamescom? No Gamescom?
Oh, I mean, I was there for 8 times maybe, and it's same people all over again. Everybody ends up in Marriott hotel lobby, which is always crowded. Now there's even a bouncer that either lets you in or don't. So not anymore for some reason, but maybe I will come back to Gamescom next year. We'll see.
So how do you view MAU from like a relevancy standpoint? So MAU used to be, from my perspective, it used to be the conference. I mean, and it's broader than gaming for sure. I mean, it covers kind of the whole spectrum of the app space. But how do you view it now? I mean, they got acquired a couple of years ago. There's a lot more friction with putting on the side events. And I think it's still very popular. But like, I think basically the value, or I think the priority of these conferences got totally reset post-COVID. Like, so pre-COVID, you can't use that as a guide for what to put on the calendar now. But actually, I think that worked in PGC's favor because that blew up post-COVID. Pre-COVID, I mean, it was a good show, but post-COVID, it became the show.
Exactly. Pre-COVID it was like, okay. I was like, maybe I will go. Now it's just like, that's the first one, beginning of the year. And now it's like 2,800 people, which is insane.
Yeah.
So definitely, yes. For MAU, it definitely changed. I still think it's the conference to go and visit. Now it's not mobile apps unlocked, but mobile audiences unlocked, which is interesting, and that broader spectrum, I guess. I mean, I'm now also doing a 2.5 gamers gaming summit before the MAU. It's kind of still add like the MAU content. So just like one day before when there's the batch pickup. So I'm a friend of the conference for a long time. So I think it's still worth it. I think it's still worth it. In terms of the content, most probably not exactly the same as it was pre-COVID, but what's the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, MAU was, I think, distinguished by the content. The content was always really strong.
Yes.
So actually, I spoke to MAU about doing something similar, like an MDM, little mini conference beforehand. We never kind of converged around that, but we had sort of spoken about that. Yeah, I mean, I think, and I haven't been to MAU in a couple of years, but I'm just a lot busier now with two kids. But,
I bet. I bet.
But it's still like, it's one of the ones that I feel jealous when it's going on and I'm at home. Like GDC, I don't really feel jealous. I feel like
yeah.
it's a grind. GDC is a grind, and just being in San Francisco for a large conference is not necessarily pleasant.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant experience. I mean, I haven't bought a ticket for a long time, and I don't even go to the actual venue. So now it's again like
Right.
meeting everybody at like the W, Marriott, or whatever else is around that. So that's why I was like, vacation, GDC, vacation. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So it became a lot more popular in the last few years for, companies to build out their own, little circuit of events, where they'll do like 3 or 4. I want to call them dinners because they're usually bigger than dinners, but it'd be like a company specific event where, they'll rent out a space and they'll do presentations for the day, and then they'll have like a party after. Any of those that are on your radar that for being like very high quality or like high signal to noise?
Well, now when when we do like as 2.5 gamers do these things as well, so I would definitely call out mine for obvious reasons. But that's pretty much it. I usually don't do these like too many of these side events because it's usually distraction, and again, presentation and then networking. I rather do a networking sessions because sometimes I feel people are kind of filled up with content already. So people are there just to talk to people instead of just sit there and listen. So I try to do also my side events as just no music, less of a drinks, just talking, and people love it. So, and that's what I also usually enjoy.
Okay. And so now moving on to the questions that I didn't write.
Okay.
We got a number of questions about web. So web onboarding, web UA. Let's maybe start there. So, I mean, web UA, let's call it web onboarding. Does that work for games? Have you seen any games implement that in a way that scaled?
Well, those are two separate things. So implementing that, yes. Scaled, not yet, I think, because it's super, super popular on the app side. And I started talking about this a couple of months ago, and I already see some companies from Turkey that are already implementing this, let's say, semi-successfully. So it's not there yet. It's not there yet because it's a little bit more complicated than just putting few quiz questions into the web, and that's pretty much it. And then ended it with the subscription. So here I'm kind of experimenting with the web where you actually have full build playable. So you kind of play or to play the playable after, let's say, a minute or 2 minutes, you get an event like, hey, download the game afterwards. So again, on paper works. The technical complexity is a little bit different and more tough to crack, but I'm pretty sure I will see this way more often in 2026. Maybe even with like the subscription or purchase / web shop component there as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
But let's table that for a second. Do you think it's a certain type of genre that can make that work? I mean, I don't think like a casual game could make that work, right? Or do you think does it matter?
Well, that's a fair question. I think the genre doesn't matter that much. For example, I saw even Royal Match or Match Villains using, let's say, Jig Solitaire, which is 3x3 puzzle playable as their end cards in different UA networks. So if you use that on the web, again, it should potentially work. I don't think it represents the real gameplay that much, so it would be a little bit misleading. I mean, even if it's a little bit misleading, nobody cares anymore that much, right? So I would still rather see like a little bit more real gameplay on that website and in the playable rather than just a fake, because then it most probably won't work. So not really the genre, but the actual playable, and that's like the style of it.
So Playtika had the whole web arcade concept where they could do kind of web onboarding because it was synchronized from the web to the app. Do you need that, or can you just do web as a pure play onboarding mechanism and then drive people to the app where that's where you expect them to play the game?
Yeah, that's the two separate things. I think you can still do the web onboarding, and then on top of that, if you have anything connected to the actual web shop and then the payment on the web, that definitely helps with like more signals back to the UA channels, and then you send afterwards the players to the app. That's where the complexity kicks in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then syncing everything up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can still do it with Facebook Conversion API on the landing page, and then with the MMP afterwards, and then sync up in the MMP. But again, it's easy to talk about and a little bit harder to sync up in the real life afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, where do you think at the end of the year we'll see anybody that has...
100%. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if the big companies, because they move slow. I mean, it's still a pretty big chunk of the revenues, but I think smaller teams which are, eager to earn more money on top of whatever they are earning in their apps. So I think that we will see definitely that, and I'm still expecting it in 2026.
Have you seen larger companies move slower with anything related to the web because they're worried that Apple will retaliate against them?
I had a few conversations like this. So the companies in Barcelona, one of the bigger companies from Israel, they said, we don't really want to do this because we really like organics from Apple, and we don't know if it's going to happen. And it's an interesting boogeyman. So I can understand that. Obviously, if I have so many such a big portion of revenue coming from App Store, then I might be scared. But then I would say like high risk, high reward.
Could you see any games at the end of this year monetizing almost entirely from the web and not using IAPs at all?
So actually one case study, interestingly connected to what we just discussed. It was an app. They removed payments from the app and then moved everything to web, and then suddenly they saw a huge dip in organics. So basically, if you're not getting revenues to the App Store, which are signals, then suddenly you are losing the rankings. I mean, it can be also the tactic from Apple, but also, I mean, logic, because if you don't see any purchases, then obviously why should you get organic installs? So I don't think it's like fully gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that is pretty logical, right? I mean, like you could view that as like some sort of, evil policy, like, we're going to star review of organic discovery if you don't have any IAPs. But then how do you tell if the game's any good if there's no IAP? I mean,
exactly. Yeah, that's the point. Like, how can you get the signal and then like, okay, well, this is just an app without anything. Well, I guess doesn't work, or is it? So exactly.
Yeah, and then I mean, it's what Apple said to defend its policy is correct. I mean, they do implement a lot of security, and you have no idea what people are doing on the web, and there's no way to audit that, or it's very difficult, and you could be just ripping people off. I mean, there is truth to that. I mean, it's not...
That's true, yeah. But there's also true, like you can actually earn more money on the web shop anyway, which is true.
Yeah. I mean, my sense is like they could have saved themselves a lot of pain here. And I think it probably... There was a point, I think, in the last 2 years where it probably would have worked out in their favor monetarily if they would have just switched to 15% across the board.
Yeah, for sure. Because the 30%, it's not really justifiable, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. But at 15%, you probably wouldn't have that many people pushing into the web at all.
Yeah, exactly. Because like the people wouldn't care that much. That's why that's my opinion. Because it is a hustle, honestly. And it's like, again, like there's the gray area and blah, blah, whatever else. So yeah, 50%, people would just say, okay, that's fine.
Mobile game developers no longer need to pay up to 30% in major App Store fees. With Xsola Web Shop, you can create a direct storefront, cut fees down to as low as 5%, and keep players engaged with bundles, rewards, and analytics. Start today at xsola.com. That's XSOLLA.com, or use the link in the episode show notes. Okay, talk to me about web shops for sort of smaller, less household name brands, right? So like we all know that like, Scopely had been doing web shops for years and years. Supercell had been doing web shops for years and years. Playtika, we just talked about it. They had the cross compatibility thing. Can smaller games do that? Can they drive people to the web with link out and see this? I mean, how does the conversion rate change from big game to small game?
Even Pixel Federation does that. I was just talking about it with them and some smaller companies. It's still, I mean, you can link out from the app. You can do all sorts of other stuff as email marketing and all the different activities, even social media, which if it's good enough, then it can work. Zynga is doing this. So it still can be like 20-30% of the revenue on top of it. Of course, like if you're not big enough, then it's not maybe as sexy. But even though like for them it's the additional margin. So I'm talking to our sponsors as well, and they're saying even smaller companies making a couple millions a month, it's still pretty big chunk of the revenue. So why not?
A couple million a month. I don't know if that's small. That's
okay. Okay.
Medium size to be.
Okay. So, well, small meaning. Okay, so I'm working with one game which is, let's say, 400,000 per month, which is smaller. Okay, so anything between 100K to 400K, I would still do it. Less than 100K, yeah, that might be just like not really something which is interesting enough.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question is like, where's the threshold when you start investing here? Because it is an investment and you have to build stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you work with Xsola, who's a sponsor. Thanks to Xsola for sponsoring the show. But I mean, you have the pipes and that's great and it's very helpful and it saves a lot of time. But you still have to build out the store. You still have to get the connectivity going and the fulfillment. So I mean, it's not work. I mean,
Exactly, and someone needs to actually manage that, and also you need to find a proper partner. So if if someone else, and also not all these partners are equal because some of them they know more, they have integrations with MMP, some they have not. So it's it's actually quite a big chunk of work.
So you brought up MMPs, so that's actually a question we got, and I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts here because this just feels like such a dynamic space. I was talking to some people at PGC and like there's a large diversity of viewpoints here, and I'm curious to get your take. So I'm kind of taking a couple questions we got about MMPs and combining them into one and adding my own lens on it. But let's say we reconvene here. What's today? We reconvene February 16th, 2027. Are games still using MMPs, or how many games are not using MMPs, or is it just taken for granted that everyone has an MMP, or what do you think the use case for the MMP is in a year's time?
I feel even if we do like 1 year from now, like people are still going to use MMPs, and it's maybe connected to the question before. Like some of the people that I talk to, they're first for some of them they even don't know what MMP is, which is terrible. If like in 2026, for God's sake. But I still think people are going to use it. Why not? Because still some of the smaller teams, they don't know, they don't have data teams. They still need to attribute players. They still need to use it for running at least some UA. So I still think it's still going to be here. Of course, we have other companies, but still, I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon.
You think will there be like, let's say, like let's define big as like, I don't know, 10 million a month or something in revenue. You think there's any big games where the studios have moved off of MMPs completely in a year's time, or they'll still be using them, but they'll be, because my sense is like, I've changed my view on this too. I think the MMP is here to stay. I think it's here to stay. But you need a lot more tools than just the MMP now than you did. But some companies use the MMP as their analytics backend. I mean, that's just what it. And so, I mean, not completely, but like that's a big chunk of it. And so, you're never going to get rid of it. It's too integrated. But could you see a big company just moving away completely, building some internal tools that just replace it altogether?
Well, big company, not really. I mean, if it's a big company, then it's going to take 5 years. And then a lot of money. And then eventually it's like, we have this internal tool, which is great, but it's so slow. If something moves quickly in mobile games industry or the games industry, which often happens, then I'm not sure if they're going to be able to react. So, and I've been working with some big companies, and they are always these teams like, we will build everything in-house. And it either takes, again, like as I said, like a million years, or it never happens because it's too expensive. So I think, it's not going to move anywhere. Just people build stuff on top of it. That's it. That's the kind of more efficient use of the MP.
Yeah. Let's go back to subscriptions. So how do you see subscriptions playing a role in game growth today? So that was a question. And then I would just kind of add on to it. Like, is that, do you see that growing as a share of revenue? Do you see it shrinking? Is it not changing? Or like, how do you see that changing over time?
It's like blast from the past. I think like games and subscriptions, like that was the thing a couple of years ago, and then it absolutely disappeared. So maybe with like the growth of apps and that subscription, it's going to maybe reignite some of the discussions, but I don't think like there's anything really meaningful in terms of the subscription. Maybe the battle passes should be a subscription recurring one, but if would that help? I have no idea. I don't think it's going to go. I mean, it's just going to be very small portion of the revenue, which is usually like 10% maybe ish, 15.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. I don't see like the actual usage of that in games that much.
Yeah, well, I mean, the battle pass makes sense. And, just some sort of recurring, gem pack or soft currency pack makes sense if you have like a really strong live ops loop.
Yeah.
But a lot of companies are not good at building those. And so you can't really, you can't layer a subscription on top of a weak live ops loop because no one sees the value, right?
And then I can see the storm of people. I forgot to unsubscribe, and now you're charging me even more money, you evil game. So I would really love to see that the discussion. So I mean, it's an interesting tool, but not for games that much.
Yeah, and even in the app space, I've seen the shape of subscriptions change a lot. So you see a lot of like the subscriptions being like different. Sort of non-stand, like not what you'd expect in terms of the regularity of the recurring payment, and just experimenting with that. As I've seen companies like unlock a lot more revenue, just playing around with different timeframes for the subscription. So it's not, and then having different tiers of the subscriptions. I think, my sense is like, actually, this is maybe a good follow-up question, but like my sense is like where, this is so use case specific and so context dependent that you just have to try a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And
like gaming companies tend to be pretty bad at that. I think just because gaming companies, I get yelled at whenever I say this, but I think it's true. Gaming companies are not led by product managers, or let's say games are not led by product managers. Games are led by producers.
Yes, exactly.
Producers wear berets and they see the game as their canvas to express their artistic vision. They're not like a PM. Walk into an app company and talk to the PM, and you say, I want to change the onboarding flow and, do this. And he's like, okay, we'll test it. Yeah, say that to a gaming producer and they'll yell at you.
Yeah. Don't touch my baby.
Don't touch my baby. This is art. I've made art. You don't understand it. You brute, you buffoon. And so like, it's just, you don't have that. And, look, I get yelled at all the time because people are like, well, we experiment with everything. And,
sure.
we have no sacred cows. Okay, fine. You're the exception. Usually they're not. Yeah, but let's say you are. But I mean, for the most part, in the main, dealing with producers tends to be kind of excruciating because they don't want to change anything. Everything has been summoned from, some deep well of artistic insight that can never be questioned. And, if you as like the analytics guy, like I was for a long time, try to push like, why don't we try this or just have something set up where that allows us to test different things, they just reject that out of hand.
Yeah. Well, I remember this discussion when I had with like the actual producers, guys, I see, let's say, five placements for ads. We can easily implement that. And it's like, oh, don't even tell me, like, the revenue is growing. I mean, call me when it's the other way around and when it's going to be decreasing. It's like, then after a couple of years, then he implemented the ads and then earned like 4 or 5 millions on top of the revenue that they were earning. I was like, guys, do you kind of, realize like this could be already done?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. So like, yeah. And this is, I know, this is a very tough discussion to have. And always when I see on different onboardings in the apps business, on the app space, it's insane like how many different variations they're testing just to kind of get better and like the higher conversions. I haven't seen these types of A/B tests for, let's say, kind of special offers, yes, maybe messaging, yes, but then it's not exactly the same. And people can argue like testing onboarding on apps it's easier than testing onboarding in gaming and tutorial and stuff. But all the live ops things, they can be tested so much until forever. And I didn't see like that happening that often. Exactly, but because of what you just said, which is interesting, and it should be tested. Basically everything, even when I'm talking like to my team and then producing creatives, and we're just having maybe brainstorming, and then like people from the actual product that they're just gonna then tell me their feedback for creatives, and I say, guys, I don't want to know your feedback.
Right.
You I don't want to know what you think about the creatives, because this is going to be wild. And every time they see ads, like, oh my God, we can't, this is my baby. This can't look like this. It needs to be way more polished. I was like, guys, no. How about no? Let's test it out. Then we can talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me started on that. I mean, that is, so the toughest conversations I've had about creative, I mean, you end up having, really challenging conversations just about, call it like brand integrity. Certainly like fidelity in terms of like representing the actual gameplay. And we can talk about that, because I got a question about that too. But someone submitted a question about fake game ads. You've been pretty vocal about it recently. But what I would respond with is like, look, if you want to provide feedback on every ad, we're going to be here all week.
Exactly.
I mean, you understand that I'm going to deploy 200 ads this week. Like, there's no time. I can't possibly collect your feedback on every single one. Like, we're going to test stuff and see what works. On the brand suitability side, yes, I accept that. And I'm happy to have that discussion. And you just give me a list of things that are red lines that I won't cross. And that's fine. Like that, I'm totally willing to do that. Like, that's the easiest way to do it. But I need to be able to test too many concepts, much less variance a week, for you to be able to give feedback on any given thing. And if you just eliminate things, all you're doing is you're reducing that scope of performance. I mean, because ultimately that's what it is. Like, we're going to find stuff that works, and it's some set of coordinates on some, multi-dimensional plane that I don't even really think it's interesting to try to dissect. If it works, it worked. All that tells me, and I mean, this is where I get a lot of pushback too. I am focused on the process. I'm not focused on the output. If the output worked, that means the process worked. It didn't mean that there's something to learn from the output. That's been my position for a long time, but it's even more so my position now because of the ramp up in volume that you have to produce. So if the creative worked and it was a winner, great. That means the process produced something that worked. Now, what I care about is the consistency of the win rate. I don't care about what the creative looked like. And if you say, well, the creative worked because of XYZ thing, it had a red tint, or it had a tank in it, or it had a dog. I say you can't know that. You can't possibly know that. What I know is that the process produced something that worked. And if the hit rate stayed the same, if the rate of change is increasing in favor of more winners, that's what I care about, not the actual output. And I'm not going to try to dissect the output. And I'm certainly not going to try to psychoanalyze the person that clicked on it. What I'm going to say is, like, there's too many variables here for me to ever be able to comprehend why someone clicked it. What I care about is the process. If the hit rate is steady or increasing, the process works. Yeah. That is yes or no.
Yeah, 100%. Because then, we can enter the never-ending feedback loop, and then suddenly it's like nothing is going to win, because we're just stuck in the feedback loop forever, and then we're not testing enough. And I'm also talking about, you need to just test volumes of creatives now. It's like, I mean, there's no other way, unfortunately. And if the creative looks like shit, it usually is even performing better than the high polished ones, because it doesn't look like an ad. So I don't really care. And sometimes when I say, oh, let's just because I really care about the people within the company, and I say, okay, let's just review this. Afterwards, I know I made a very big mistake, because then that's exactly the never-ending feedback we want to avoid. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Stop. Let's just get back to the testing, and then we can talk after we get some data in, because that's it. That's pretty much it.
You know those channels your colleagues keep bragging about? The ones getting all the credit? Yeah, they might be doing squat. Attribution makes every channel look like a hero, even when it's a zero. Incremental tells you who's actually doing the work. It's like a lie detector for your marketing budget. Start using Incremental today. Get your demo at incremental.com. That's INCRMNTAL.com. Mention that you came through the Mobile Dev Memo podcast for a special 15% discount for the first 6 months. So we did get a question about fake ads. I'm going to adapt it to the conversation, but there is a red line, right? I mean, there is a red line here. I mean, some of these ads have gotten perverse and disturbed.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't feel comfortable associating my company or my game with them.
No, of course.
Certainly games that are designed for, primarily to be played by, well, I mean, kids games are one thing. I mean, kids games, you can kind of put that to the side, because I don't really think there are that many successful studios making like kids focused games. I mean, a lot of the, for the most part, I think you're targeting, 40 plus women.
Parents anyway. Yeah, exactly. You're even if it's kids game, you're targeting for, like parents. But of course, I don't really like producing sexist ads, like anything gross. It's just, I mean, given like the ethical reasons, obviously I don't want to do it. Fake ads or misleading ads, I don't care that much. Also, it needs to have like certain visuals and logic behind, let's say, the runner gates mechanic in Forex. It needs to have different like specific elements within those ads to make it work. But yes, like anything which is like freezing families, freezing babies, it's like, oh my god, like come on. I can see how it works and why it works, but I try to stay away from that.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of things that, could be, commercially viable that we just disallow in our society. So like, I mean, some of these ads are truly perverse.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible to watch. But then again, like people are just screaming, oh, why don't just, the platforms don't just ban this? And then it's like, guys, they're making money out of this. Like, why would they ever ban anything like this? It's never going to happen. And one amazing example was like one of our friends, like Paul West, he said like some of their competitors, they were using even like their ads with his face in the video,
his personal face.
Yeah, and he was like, guys, like, can you take this down? Like, oh, we need more evidence. Like, what more evidence do you need? This is my face, which was in the creatives that our competitor stole. Like, guys, come on, no, we need more evidence. So it's like it's so,
do they do that just to troll him?
I have no idea. I hope so. I really hope so.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I mean, they just platforms, they don't really care that much. So why would they? And this is just like the great example of it.
So I'll tell a quick story. So this is recent. Like someone messaged me on the Mobile Dev Memo Slack, like, I don't know, 2 months ago, and I had published a course like years ago.
Yeah.
That was like pretty expensive, and it was up for a couple years, and I looked at it like a year ago, and I was like, you know what, this isn't. I'm not proud of this anymore. It's just dated. Like it just wasn't. It wasn't current, and so I took it down. Like I deactivated it or whatever. And the reason this person reached out was because like they had an account and they tried to like log in, and it was down, and so I was like, oh, okay. So I just sent them the videos, and they said, by the way, there's a website selling your course for $99. And like my course was like almost $1,000.
Oh,
and
my God.
I went to the website, and it had the original price, on it. And then it had just a big line through it. And it's like, oh, you're in luck. This is on like 90% discount. And I was like, what is this? And so I looked up like, how can I get this taken down? And so Google has a way to, submit a petition, so they'll at least exclude it from search, right? And so I said, hey, this is my course. Like it's got my name on it. Yeah. And you could see the screenshot of, the video, and it's got my face in it. I'm like, that's me. can you please, and I don't approve of this. Can you just take it down? And they're like, someone responded like, how do we know it's you? And so I just took a picture of my face in front of the screen with the picture of my face on it, right? Like it's like, see, it's me. It's the same person. And they just never responded.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's because what people do these days, and it's especially companies from China, they just pretty much steal the creatives that you are running, and they just crop the end card, or just remove the end card from the actual video,
right,
and then just run it as their own video. It works. That's like the worst part of that whole exercise. It actually works. And some of the new wave of the social casinos, like the Top Tycoon and Carnival Tycoons, which have the different onboarding, but then it's just pretty much slot machine afterwards. They're using creatives from different games, which are idle games, and it works so well. So I was like, okay, let's test this out. So my team made like 10 videos for my, let's say, the identification app for, let's say, $5 CPIs. I stole some, or like, let's say, I just downloaded some of the planned apps creatives, tested against each other, and those stolen creatives have like $1.2 CPI. I was like, oh, wow. Okay, interesting. So that's why people are stealing the creatives, because actually, if you find a good one that fits whatever you are running, it actually can work way, way better than your creative. Is it okay? I don't think so. But unfortunately, people found out about this long time ago, and now I can see it across the whole gaming industry. So I would say like that's where we draw the line of even worse than fake ads, like stealing each other's creatives, which is the worst case scenario, I guess.
Well, so that actually leads to another question. Again, I'm going to adapt it to the conversation. But so how long do you get? Like, let's say you get a creative out and, it just outperforms everything. It's a massive winner. Like, how long do you get to keep that to yourself? Like before someone discovers it and rips it off and clones it? And
I think that's just a matter of like a week, maybe. Well, yeah, depends on like who are your competitors. If your competitors are Century Games, then you have maybe a couple of days because I know. Because I know some of my friends from Turkey, they said every creative we produce, like it's basically after a couple of days, it's already on Century Games account and just adapted to their games. So it's that quick, obviously. If you have 400 people in the creative team, it's quite easy to uncover new teams and creative winners. So yeah, but then I think even now with let's say with the Pixel Flow guys and their creatives, I think now we are starting to see, after their huge success, starting to see the conveyor belts and their kind of little bit of their mechanics in different games genres like Forex and strategy games. So if it's the same genre, I would say weeks. If it's other genre, maybe a couple of months. But yeah, it's not like 2014 or 15.
No,
unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure. I can't decide.
So do playables insulate you? Do they act as a defense a little bit because it's just harder to make a playable, or no? Because I mean, you could basically make them in the same amount of time as a video now.
Yeah, I think it's you can make them let's say you can make it in like 2 weeks. If you have a big team, then it can be even less than that, which all the big companies have. But even now, like some tools, mine included, we have like 150 templates. So you can just take a template and you have it playable out there in like a day, pretty much. And when I saw the Jigsaw, they're pretty much scaling, which is again just like puzzle game, and it's pretty much Jigsaw puzzle, 3x3 or 4x4, doesn't matter. I just took one of the best performing static images that I had for a hidden object game. I took that playable, put it like took the template, put it on Uplovin, and suddenly best performing playable out of all of them in a couple of days, and scaled like 5x the budget, and even the ROAS, it exploded. So you don't really need even weeks anymore. That's the scary part. That's the scary part.
Is it harder to clone a playable? Because I mean, with a video ad, you can just download the video, like you said, and swap in.
It's a little bit. Yeah, it's harder to clone the playable. You can copy that. You just need to swap the assets. So yeah, that's a little bit the hardest part.
And is that why you think playables are becoming a bigger portion of budgets for some studios?
I think because of uploving rather than just because of that, because uploving
Okay.
is already 50%, well, ish, depends on who you talk to, but pretty big portion of the spend, and you need absolutely like playables for uploving. And when I was at Amplify, they said top companies produce 60 playables per month.
Wow.
which is insane. But I guess, like it's like the White House rivals,
Right.
Royal matches, and all the big guys. But still,
That's a huge number.
It's a huge number. Yeah, right. It's a huge number. But it's like high number of creatives in general. It's correlated to success and bigger success. And same thing for uploving and the playables. So right now, for me, I'm just doing like 2-3 playables a month at least. Ideal scenario is like 5 and plus.
What so this is a question we got. What tools are you using for creative production? What are the kind of like most current, most modern tools for producing creatives?
Oh geez, I mean, where do I start? I actually just published an article about the tool and the actual step by step. So it's anything from all the AI stuff, usually like the Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, to all the Adobe After Effects, Blender, and regular stuff for the motion designers. But if I am producing a video, I'm just using all the Kling and the VO3, pretty much AI stuff. And I'm now working pretty much with the layer AI, which kind of combines all the tools out there.
So how automated can that get? Can that get fully automated?
It can get fully automated. I'm now actually building one workflow, which is pretty much connected to the Tasty Travels Cute Animal AI videos, which are basically everywhere. So now I built this pipeline and I want to automate, like fully automated. So I have my own game assets. I want to transform these assets with AI to the cute animals, and then pretty much add like slide animation on top of it, and then stitch together, add the end card, and then export. It's like 5 steps workflow, easily done.
Have you seen Sea Dance too?
Oh, it's all my Twitter. It's pretty much everywhere. Oh, and I also saw the Disney lawsuit against the Vikings.
Yeah. Well, they also. Did you see the video? It was the Sea Dance produced fight between Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
and then that immediately prompted a lawsuit.
Yeah. I saw also the Wolverine versus Superman and even Darth Vader versus Thanos. I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed. So funny, but it's so great. I mean, like the production value, oh my God, it's insane.
There was it was a Curb Your Enthusiasm, clip that was produced with Sea Dance 2, and you wouldn't be able to tell that was not. And it was the person pasted the prompt. It was like a sentence. And it produced a 30-second, and it was funny. It was like it came out of the the show. I mean, we're entering a kind of bizarre, strange new era here. But I think once you can get that hooked up for the purpose, I don't know where you can access Sea Dance 2 right now. I was playing around. I was trying to play around with it last night, and I couldn't find anywhere where you could actually get access to it. But
no, it's still beta, and it's still like invite only.
But once you get that into a production workflow, I mean, we're talking like real 3D render, like live footage, essentially, that you're being able to add to your creatives.
Yeah, 100%. Even like the Genie 3 that was launched recently, I don't think it's gonna like destroy games. I would rather use this for like building worlds for the creative.
Right.
I mean, it's like it's a way better usage of that product. The tools that I'm using now with like all the article that I mentioned, it's pretty much talking about like the one video would take me or the guys from my team like a week. Now it's done, let's say, a day, which because then you need to have like a professional voiceover or whatever else,
right? Lip
syncing stuff, and then like post production, all the AI like movements, and it just speeds up pretty much everything if you know how to use it more efficiently. But then that's it. I mean, that's a huge help.
What about the platform tools? Like, are you using any of Facebook's creative production tools for games? I feel like that's more for e-com.
It's more for ecom. I try to use it for games or some like experiments. It's not there yet. It's not there yet. But think about it. I was talking to Facebook about exactly this. Like if they can build a proper tool for videos even while using their own data to kind of let's say like showcase what is actually working on the platform for different genres, because for small teams and small developers, they don't have like big creative teams. They have no idea what to do. And if they can use their data to just help these guys to spend more and show them like what works, and they don't even really need to leave the platform, yeah, sounds interesting.
No, I mean, they absolutely should. I'm a little surprised. They seem to be moving very slowly. I would expect them to have already launched these tools for
Yes.
game advertisers. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think they're poised for like a big year with gaming, because I think they have a lot of stuff that they could launch very easily that would just kind of get them to a state where they're providing functionality that some of these studios just don't have. And that's what's going to unlock net new UA spend, not just incrementally. I mean, incrementally new UA spend, but like big chunks of it from studios that just don't have those capabilities.
Exactly. Yeah, that was exactly my pitch to them. Like, guys, like if you want to grow again, and there, I mean, to a certain extent to grow again, like to have more small size developers, and there's a lot of them. I mean, this is exactly how, because they don't need to leave the platform, and they need creatives. I mean, they need lots of creatives, and this is how you easily can build that.
Analytics. What are you using for analytics? What's state of play? What's the best of the best with analytics right now?
Oh, I mean, there's usually I plug myself into whatever company is using. So there's usually MMP and then Looker or anything for actual dashboards, and then whatever like Amplitude and what else. I mean, and obviously Firebase, but that's pretty much usually like internal stuff.
So just kind of Firebase plus MMP plus maybe some internal
dashboarding, internal stuff, internal dashboarding tools, and then that's pretty much it.
All right. What about competitive analysis? What are you using for competitive analysis?
I usually do. I mean, if you have paid access to Sensor Tower, that's my go-to usually. If you don't, then I'm, like Ads Library, Google Transparency, and TikTok. And I use even TikTok for trends pretty much. But since, we are doing the computer, at least creative analysis for podcasts, like I'm always in Sensor Tower.
Got it. Let me talk about TikTok. How do you feel about TikTok for gaming?
Oh, it's my, let's say, third best channel. Well, depends on the game, but it's like second or third best channel for iOS.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's working really well. Yeah, behind Upload, obviously.
Up, and then what's three? Google, then Meta?
Yeah, usually Facebook is on the second or third spot. But TikTok is always up there with Smart Plus, and then the TikTok One creatives. I mean, amazing. Still works.
Wow. That's surprising.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter really like what kind of genre. It works for me for hidden object, for match free, for strategy as well.
Yeah, their Smart Plus has improved a lot. When they first launched it, I was a little bit skeptical because it didn't really seem to do
terrible.
much. But,
It was terrible. It's interesting to see how TikTok evolved over time, and especially even like now in the last four months, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of conversations with people where they kind of thought that TikTok had kind of pressed pause on doing anything like really innovative because they just didn't know what the status of the company was going to be. Yeah. I don't know if I find that I didn't hear that from anybody in TikTok, but I heard that from people who apparently knew people in TikTok that were saying that. Okay. I found that a little hard to believe because I felt like, well, it's still going to exist. I mean, no matter what. Exactly. It felt like, I mean, Trump said, I mean, before he even got elected, that he was going to find a way to not ban TikTok. So it didn't feel like there was a huge risk there. But it's improved. TikTok's improved a lot for other categories. I don't have too much access to it on the gaming side, but okay, it sounds like it performs well.
Yeah.
All right, and then this one, I'm just really curious to hear what you have to say. So, what genre are you most excited about this year? What do you think is going to be a breakout, or what do you think is going to be just capturing the most revenue, or is it just nothing's going to change?
I don't think lots going to change. I know there's at least 100 Forex games coming from China to the store this year from my friends. So that's going to be an interesting battle there. But then like there's the first genre that works really well. Then the second one is match 3. Great. What else do we have? Honestly, I'm pretty skeptical about anything else.
Where do you think hybrid casual sits?
It sits right before match 3 because even all like these new titles that are growing IIP revenues are way more close to casual than the hybrid casual that was, let's say, 2 years ago. So it was a stepping stone towards casual games. And I'm pretty sure like the Pixel Flow is the great example. It is still close to hyper casual, but way more casual than the rest. That's why they're earning so much money on IIP side.
Right. Matej, there were a couple questions that we didn't get to. Just have to bring you back again.
Yes.
But appreciate this. This is great. We covered a lot of ground. Thanks so much. And feel free to plug your stuff now. Where can people find you? Where can they consume your wisdom and your insight?
Yeah, just LinkedIn, Matej Lancaric, or it's actually the Brutally Honest newsletter, which is lancaric.substack.com. And yeah, just hit me up on LinkedIn. Or just go to 2.5 Gamers on YouTube and then subscribe there. Thanks, Eric. This was amazing. Thank you very much.
Smash that subscribe button. All right, Matej. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks.